In this video, we will take a look at the human pelvis. Note that the pelvis itself, in its articulated form, is actually made up of two bones that each themselves are three bones fused together, as well as the sacrum and the coccyx. So here we are talking specifically about the os coxa or the ossicoxae collectively. So let's look at these bones independently. This is a left bone, this is a right bone. Note that in reality, they will join together here with the sacrum. So here, the sacrum in between the two ossa coxae. And so that is the posterior articular surface, and the anterior articular surface is like this right here. So this is the pubic symphysis. All right, so this is the pubic symphysis where the two pubic bones come together. All right, let's take a look at the right bone. This is the medial aspect of the right os coxa, or the right pelvic bone. This rough surface here is the sacroiliac joint. This entire bone here is the ilium, posterior the ischium, and anterior the pubis. This ridge along the superior side of this bone is called the iliac crest. This point, which is actually the point to the anterior side, is called the anterior superior iliac spine. Okay, if we look at the posterior, we can see this very deep notch. This is called the greater sciatic notch, and it's where the sacral nerve is going to, where the sciatic nerve is going to exit from the pelvis. This point to the posterior side of the pelvis is called the ischial spine. Okay. This large hole right here is called the obturator foramen. And if we look at the inferior aspect of this bone, we can see this very rough surface right here. This is essentially what you are sitting on. So your sits bones, right? So right there, these rough surfaces, again right here, this is the ischial tuberosity. Now if we look at the lateral side of this bone, okay, so the lateral right os coxa, again the anterior superior iliac spine, the iliac crest. The acetabulum, this is where the head of the femur is going to articulate, forming a nice ball and socket joint. This is the pubis, and so this is where the pubic symphysis would be. This is the obturator foramen. Again, the ischial tuberosity. Ischial spine, greater sciatic notch. Okay. To determine left versus right, what I would do is, if I could actually hold this bone, right, which I can, luckily, I would put the greater sciatic notch right in the L of my thumb and the rest of my fingers, okay, and hold the bone like this. And so if I hold the bone like this and put it up to my head, which I won't show you, but if I were to put it up to my head, this nice smooth region, the medial section here, called the iliac fossa, would be able to go right up to my ear, and I could talk through this hole right here, and I could say, hello, obturator, through the obturator foramen. Okay, so that only works on the right side, right, with the right bone. Okay, so again, sacroiliac joint is posterior, obturator foramen is anterior, and the iliac fossa would be right up to my ear. Now if I tried the same thing with this bone right here, right, so I put the greater sciatic notch in the crook of my hand. First of all, the iliac fossa is on the wrong side. Also, the obturator foramen is on the wrong side. And so this would not be right. Instead, it's the left bone. Again, so if I put it up to my face, I could talk through the obturator foramen with my ear against the iliac fossa. A couple more structures I want to point out on the articulated pelvis. We can see that the pubic bones are going to form this angle, okay, when the pelvis is articulated, and so this is called the pubic angle. Note that it is roughly acute in a male pelvis. If we look over here at a female pelvis, we see that the angle is much broader, and so this is an obtuse angle versus the narrower acute angle of the male compared to the female. The other thing, which isn't necessarily applicable to the practical exam, but I want to point out that in the male pelvis, the coccyx and the sacrum are going to point very anteriorly. Right? So it's pretty much pointing straight forward. On the female pelvis, on the other hand, the sacrum and the coccyx point more inferiorly. Okay, and so all of these features, as well as the broader nature of the pelvis, give rise to the ease of childbirth.